Hello and welcome back to Bookish and welcome back to my Saturday Hodgepodge. Sorry about the lighting. I had left this till Friday night when usually I film my Saturday Hodgepodge videos on Friday morning. So, it's nighttime when I'm filming. So the glare on my glasses may be worse. The lighting may be bad. It may look a little bit grainy, which is probably an improvement. But I wanted to make sure I got this done so I could upload this video for tomorrow morning. My Hodgepodge videos, I just kind of talk about what's going on in the week, my reading week, other things going on in the week, other booktube things that have been happening. So I wanted to extend a thank you to everybody who gave me such great well wishes for my daughter's wedding, which was last Saturday. So a week from the day in which you're watching this. It was a great time. My wife did a great job. My wife and my new in-laws did a great job of planning and putting on just a great wedding for my daughter and her husband. And so we had a great time doing that, and thank you all again for all the kind thoughts there. My reading week has started off really well. It took me a little while to recover from the wedding. It was a very tiring thing, but my reading week has gone pretty well. I started reading Detransition Baby by Torrey. This is a buddy read that I'm doing with Mark Nash and Sina from Beating Around the Books. We're doing a buddy read. Our first check-in will be today, Saturday, as you watch this. So I'm looking forward to hearing their thoughts and sharing my thoughts such as they are. I also am reading 1919, the second book in the USA trilogy by John Dos Passos. This is a buddy read I'm doing with Jack, the Rambling Raconteur. I will have just started reading the first section of 1919 today on Saturday. I've already gotten a message from Jack about an aspect, something we've been talking about with the books. It's just been really fun to buddy read those books. I'm looking forward to getting to 1919 and talking to Jack about it on Sunday. I also started reading as a part of my Pride Week reading, as is Detransition Baby, part of my Pride Month reading. I also started reading Maurice by E.M. Forster. I only got through today about 42 pages of this. It's been a little bit difficult for me to get into. Occasionally it catches just right with me and I'm able to get some momentum reading, but there's something about the style of the writing which is kind of throwing me off. I've read Forster before. Howard's End is one of my favorite books, but there's something about the style here that's just been a little bit hard for me to stick with, and I'm hoping that will improve as we go on. The book I've been enjoying reading the most, though, is Despised and Rejected by Rosa Allatini, which is a book which was banned in Great Britain, I believe, in 1918 for its kind of pacifist anti-war stance, but also for the fact that its main two characters, its main male and female characters, are both gay. The main character, male character, is gay. The main female character is a lesbian, and I've really been enjoying reading that book. I got through about the first 70 or so pages, and it's not perfect, and there's some things about it that I think kind of show its age, and some things about it where characters feel a little bit stereotypical, but it's just been really enjoyable, and I've been trying to decide if I'm enjoying it so much because of the book itself, or because the book kind of is a historical artifact. To find a book that was written, in 1916 and published in 1916, which is so open and frank about the homosexuality of its main characters, is unusual, I think, and so I'm kind of interested in it in that way, and kind of reading it to see, how daring Allatini could be. Now, Allatini published the book originally under a pseudonym or a pen name. F.T. Fitzroy, I believe, was the name in which the book was published. And the book, as I said, was banned relatively shortly after it was published, with the focus mainly being on the pacifism, the anti-war message, but also even the publisher of the book, claiming that if he'd known what its sexual content was about, he would have never printed it. But interesting in all of that, Rose Allatini's name never really got caught up in that. And I can't remember if Katie from Books and Things, that's where I heard about this book. I can't remember if she talked about this or not. But Allatini was married to a man, and he was a composer. This, by the way, mirrors some things about the characters in the book. They had 2 kids, a son and a daughter, and then when they were in their 40s, they split up, and she went to live with a woman, and she spent the rest of her life living with this woman and writing books. I think something like publishing something like 30 more books under a different pen name. And it's unclear whether or not she was a lesbian or not, but it's just a really interesting story. I think her story and the story of the book, I just found it to be really interesting. And so I'm not sure if I'm just more interested in the book in that sense, or in is the book really that effective and that good. Either way, I'm enjoying the reading experience quite a bit. So that's kind of where I am. I think that's 4 books I'm reading at once. 2 of them are buddy reads. Yes, and the other 2 I'm just reading for myself. So that's been great, and so far I've been able to keep pace with everything. Another thing I wanted to do this week is I wanted to kind of clarify some things that I said in videos earlier this month where I just feel like I was wrong, or I was unclear, or I didn't make exceptions. So in one of the videos I made this month, one of my Saturday Hodgepodge videos, I kind of railed against people who weren't getting vaccines and made it, said clearly that it is your duty as a human being to get the vaccine so it can stop COVID from continuing to spread. And I had a commenter who pointed out quite passionately that there are some people who cannot get the vaccine for health reasons. And of course I should have made that exception, so I wanted to make sure I made that exception here. Not everybody is eligible, will be eligible, should get the vaccine. There are some people whose health conditions should prevent them, and I should have made that clear in the earlier video. I also made another video in which I was really ranting about real efforts to cancel real things like voting rights and tenure for someone who deserves or who is qualified to be a full professor at the University of North Carolina. And in that video, I essentially said that no one had been canceled, and several people brought up examples from their life, kind of their experience here on YouTube and other places, in which they talked about people being canceled. And so I wanted to clarify something really quickly. Canceling is a way for people without power to confront people with power. That's really what it's about. It is a method for people who traditionally not had been powerful, who've been traditionally marginalized, to confront and draw attention to bad behavior, bad statements, bad beliefs, bad actions by people with power. So, canceling is what is what we might call the attempt to diminish J.K. Rowling's reputation as an author, to diminish the sales of her books, etc. That would be canceling. Canceling is not when people online gang up on somebody else online who is essentially in the same, has the same amount of power. That's just bullying, and I made a video about this before. But that's just bullying. If you go after an independent author because they have things in their book which you think are problematic, and you then attempt to bully that author and to get that author to get off of YouTube or take books down, that's bullying. Okay, that's not canceling. And I realize to some that there doesn't seem to be a difference, but bullying only happens when there's a power disparity, where the people doing the bullying have more power than the person being bullied. That's not canceling, because in canceling, people without power are trying to focus their attention on people with power. So there is a difference to be made there. But in saying that no one had been canceled, I should have gone back through this and talked about kind of what I see as the difference between online bullying, which is 97% just wrong and just bullying for bullying's sake, and then what I mean when we talk about actual cancel culture. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of clarifying was I did make a maybe mid-rash video in May, and in that video I talked about love being God, and I wasn't clear enough about what I meant. What I mean to say is that love all by itself is enough. That for me, that if I behave and practice love, if I make being more loving a goal, then that's all I need. Since Steve Donahue accused me of being hippy-dippy with this idea of, love being God, etc., let me quote from our paraphrase John Lennon, or say, all you need is love. That's what I literally mean, that I don't need a concept or a God. I don't need a corporal, incorporeal being who wants my attention or worship or demands anything from me or to whom I owe anything, that love, if I behave out of love, then that will satisfy everything. Because if God is love, He should be happy if I behave in a loving way, and the more loving I am, the better the world is. Whether there is a God or not, it doesn't matter. That's what I meant, I think. So I wanted to make sure I clarified that. Also, this week I watched Claudia from Spencer's Library made a video called, I think it's called All About the Numbers and How BookTube Analytics Influence Us as Creators. Then Steve Donahue made a response video to that. Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading made a response video to that. And Charlotte from Coin Reads also made a response to that. So I really thought that video was really great. And if you haven't seen it, like I said, there'll be links to all the videos I just mentioned. Claudia's originally and all the response to that down below. She interviewed about 10 booktubers, and she very carefully kind of worked the answers to their questions together. And there was surprising unanimity among the answers there about how YouTube analytics affect booktubers. So, they kind of run the gamut from people who pay really close attention to people like Steve, who says he doesn't pay any attention. He's never seen the analytics page. I don't doubt he's never looked at the analytics page, but, we know Steve knows how many subscribers he has. And, Steve would be able to see how many views he has on videos. So there's some things we see. But what Claudia was specifically talking about was on that YouTube Studio page, it shows you your top-ranked videos for 28 days and how each video does compared to the others and stuff like that. And the question was, and I think what she was getting at is, how do things like that affect you? Now, clearly, as everybody's pointed out, what YouTube is trying to get you to do is to make the kind of videos that people watch, because that increases ad revenue for them, Google, who's YouTube's partner or overlord or whatever, but also for you. And they have kind of ways of making you feel bad. Like when you put out a video, it's the #1 video, they're little like fireworks that go off next to that video's when you look at that video in the analytics page. And if the video is like the same as all the others, a green check mark. If not, it's gray. There are all kinds of things like that. And so, of course, just from hearing me talk about this, you know that I do see those things, and I do pay attention. And when I first saw this and I saw Steve's reaction, I thought, well, I'm kind of more like Steve. I don't know if you know this or not, but I just kind of, talk on these videos. I do edit them, like you'll see me put the pictures of book covers in, and when I say something is just, I think I've just misspoken or unclear, I do edit those things out. But, I don't really script it. I don't necessarily worry very much about my hair or my outfit or anything like that. Even though some of those concerns do come up, I thought, well, you're more like Steve. And when I really thought about it, I realized, well, no, I'm not. I'm aware of how many subscribers I have. I'm aware when my number of new subscribers doesn't go up as fast as it's been going, thanks to YouTube making me aware of that. I'm aware of how many views different videos get. I'm aware of the kind of videos that I make that get the most views. And for me on my channel, the videos that get the most views are these videos, the ones I do on Saturday, because I have a feeling a lot of my subscribers just watch that one video from me a week, which, by the way, thank you very much, that's plenty. And then don't watch the tag video or whatever I do on Thursday, which is perfectly fine. But then other than that, the videos I have that have the most views are videos that involve reviews or discussions of books and oftentimes kind of American classic works of literature. I've had videos about Ernest Hemingway, and particularly a video about Big Two-Hearted River, part 1 and 2, two of his most famous stories, which have a lot of views. I did a video a long time ago about Praise of Folly by Erasmus, which is actually the video I have that has the most views. And I get comments from people on videos I made about short stories like The Jilting of Granny Weatherall or Sweat by Zora Neale Hurston, or For Esme with Love and Squalor by J.D. Salinger. Those videos seem to be the viewership of those videos seems to indicate that there are some students watching those videos, and that's not something as a former teacher I'm completely comfortable with. But in addition to that, then just book review videos. Over the long haul, a book review video will end up getting way more views than a Saturday Hodgepodge video will. And so, I am aware of those things. And so sometimes, then I think one of the other things Claudia was trying to get at is, does knowing that information influence the kind of videos you make? And on the whole, I would say no, but, on some level, if I'm aware of it, then it's possible that it's influencing some of my choices and some of my decision making about the videos I make on my channel. So maybe this was really not so much of a response as a confession about these things. And I wondered, and this is one of those things which is potentially sensitive, but I wondered if people like me, a middle-aged, late middle-aged, cisgendered white guy, I wondered if this isn't one of those places where the double standard and a lifetime of living in a double standard, in which as a cisgendered white male in the United States of America, where I could succeed perhaps without putting on or doing my absolute best, I wondered if this is an example of that. Is this as an example of booktubers like me thinking, oh well, I'll just go on and talk about whatever I want to and ramble, and I'll wear whatever t-shirt I happen to have on, or I'll comb my hair and stuff like that, but it really doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter how carefully I plan. It doesn't matter how carefully I edit it. Maybe that's a byproduct of that kind of double standard, and maybe the reason why in that video there were people talking about spending a lot of time on their makeup and spending a lot of time editing and making sure they got it exactly right. Maybe it's because those people have traditionally been held to an unfair standard that I haven't been, and so that made me curious about that. Is my relatively lackadaisical approach to making booktube videos just a byproduct of being the beneficiary of a double standard for so long that it just works its way even subconsciously into all kinds of parts of my life. Anyway, there you go. Those were my thoughts, such as they were. Notice, again, rambly, unplanned. I still think it's probably going to be okay. At least that's the way I feel about it. But those are kind of my thoughts about that video and all the responses, the video that Claudia made, and all the response videos to it, which are just great. And like I said, I'll link all those down below. So the last thing I want to leave you with is, and this is something that I used to do a long time ago, and in these videos, and kind of got a habit of, and I notice a lot of other booktubers, and they're kind of Saturday or Sunday videos, sometimes linked to music. So I wanted to go back to doing that, and I've been listening to a lot more blues music lately. I've created a Spotify list which has blues music on it, which includes B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Ray Charles and stuff like that. And so I've been listening to a lot more blues. And on top of that, it's been raining almost every day here in Texas, so I have been listening to my favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan song, one of my favorite songs of all time, called Texas Flood by Stevie Ray Vaughan, which is a virtuoso, I think, blues guitar lyrical piece, which I'm going to leave two versions of that song down below. One is just, the studio recording with a still picture of Stevie Ray Vaughan, which, musical genius, not necessarily that much to look at all the time. I'll leave that one, but also then kind of a remarkable live performance of Texas Flood, the Stevie Ray Vaughan. And so I'm going to leave that down in the links below too. I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about today. Look forward to your comments in the comments section below, and as always, thank you for watching.